And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, we've been talking for a while. As soon as I said that I am running low on water, I can feel this tickle in my throat, and I'm fighting it. How are you today?
That's always how it goes. I am hydrated, luckily, today. That is mostly because I helped a friend move over the weekend, Brad. I told you about this. Now, I told you I was going to save the story for the recording, and here we are. It's a quick one. I've moved before. I've moved places. I've helped others move in the past. I've never moved with two Division I athletes before. So shout out to Darian, my good friend. I know you know Darian here. Former track and field student athlete at the University of Arizona. His brother Ryan, who I met for the first time, his younger brother, former Division I football player in Montana. So, Brad, it was a traditional move situation. We're moving couches, we're moving other home decor. And there were points where I was kind of struggling, Brad. I'm not going to lie. I was picking up items like, okay, and then upstairs, it's always the tricky part is going upstairs. If you drop a friend's TV, that's a tough situation. And then I look over, and these guys, these brothers, literally are just doing this no problem. Couches going backwards. And Darian's girlfriend was there. So it was three dudes, including myself, and then Darian's girlfriend was kind of like the planner of it all. She wasn't lifting. And I just thought to myself, like, Lord, let me not drop any of Darian's belongings. Like, it's already one thing that I'm feeling self-conscious about carrying my weight, literally. But luckily I did not drop anything, Brad. It was maybe 108, 107 in Phoenix this weekend. We were doing it in the middle of the day. But I love Darian. His brother's super cool. His new lady, his girlfriend, super great. And I didn't drop anything, Brad. So I am motivated to hit the gym this week. I am going to think about these two brothers and their D1 prowess. And, these guys are like, Brad, these guys are like 4% body fat. They're just Adonises. Have you ever, I'm burying the lead. Have you ever moved with Adonises before? This was a new experience for me.
No. Sorry to everybody I've ever helped move, but no. Nope. Usually middle-aged, failing bodies. No Adonis.
You're the star of the group.
Dons maybe, but not Adonises. Yeah.
That's real. What was a new experience for me? I would do it again, but I need to hit the gym.
Well, I'll say this in your defense. I don't think anybody that's listening to this that doesn't live in AZ has any clue what it's like to move in the desert heat in the summer, going up and down staircases and stuff. Like, if you want that experience and you're at your house and you live in, I don't know, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, hopefully not, somewhere in the Midwest where it's like, I saw the heat wave warning coming up and I chuckled and chortled and retweeted it with the Razor Ramon fingers gif, because come on now, 100 degrees. How will you ever survive? If you want the moving in AZ experience, I want you to pick up the heaviest box in your house. Make one. Do whatever you got. But preheat the oven to 400. And then when you're ready to start, I want you to stick your face over the oven door and open it like you're about to put in a DiGiorno. Let the heat hit you in the face and don't drop the box. That's what it's like moving, because the second you open that door out of that apartment, you walk in and you're like, oh, respite. Maybe the fan's on and it dries your sweat a little bit. And you're like, it feels like a refrigerator in here, but it's like 80 degrees because the door's been open. And then you walk back outside. The sun hits you like the sun in the second level of Mario Brothers 3 for the NES that chases you the whole level through. That's what it's like. Dodging death on every movement. And if you drop something, Tyler, it's done. But if you drop, they'll have to get a spatula out of one of the boxes and peel your arm, your cooked flesh off the asphalt. It's not a place you F around with, because like anywhere else you trip, you fall, you land in a bush. Out here, the bush will kill you.
Yeah. There's lots of concrete. His new place is beautiful, by the way, but I just kept thinking, don't drop anything. So I just had to be strategic about what I said yes to carrying, and then what I kind of let those two guys take care of. And these were between the hours of about, give or take, 11 and 2 p.m. is when we were prime season for moving. So it was just in the middle of the day. And luckily I love these guys, because if it were anyone else, maybe I would have had something come up, but it was a good experience, Brad. The weekend was also notable for a different reason. Today on this episode, we are going to talk wrestling. Absolutely. We're going to break down AEW All In. We're going to preview 2 massive WWE shows. You have a someday when you have kids, word on the street. We have a Bachelorette recap, jam-packed edition of GI, Brad. However, before we get there, something else I need to fill you in on for my weekend. I made it to the movie theater. I braved the conditions, the elements. I went back to AMC.
Wow.
They have air conditioning. Can confirm. Yes.
Wow. Just like Mississippi.
And I saw a movie that I have feelings about. So let's hit the music. It's time for GI at the movies.
And now it's time for GI at the movies.
All right, my friend, you knew about my plans to see this. I believe I even mentioned it on air, and I am here to report my review. Blink twice. Tech billionaire Slater King. This is the plot. Slater King meets a cocktail waitress named Frida at his annual fundraising gala. King invites Frida to join him and his friends for a dream vacation on a private island. What could possibly go wrong? Blink Twice is starring Channing Tatum, he's Slater King, and directed by his boo, Zoe Kravitz. This film is low-key polarizing, Brad. I've seen it receive 4 stars from the Arizona Republic. Meanwhile, RogerEbert.com gave it 1 star. It's quite the variance. You don't always get that with big films. Rotten Tomatoes currently has the film at 78% certified fresh. This film delivers thrills, the location is beautiful, and the colors are very crisp. It's clear that Kravitz had a blast making this. I was also impressed with Channing Tatum's range as the menacing King. He's come a long way from Coach Carter and Step Up. Now, admittedly, I have not seen Magic Mike. I hear they're good films.
It's great.
It's great. He does well.
I have no idea.
My favorite aspect of the film may have been the score. The reveals were solid, but many vital characters felt underdeveloped. Kravitz was delivering many important societal messages. I don't want to give away spoilers. I want you to see this film. But I wanted them to resonate with a more substantive script. I think that's where it really fell short. I recommend checking this movie out, Brad. But honestly, I would wait until it's streaming.
Wow. All right. Good to know, because we're going to the movies this weekend. Finally getting caught up on summer stuff. I have not seen a single summer movie because we haven't had the ability to, outside of Despicable Me 4 or 5, whatever it was, which was a Despicable Me movie. So for whatever that's worth, I didn't not have a good time. We're finally going to see Deadpool this weekend. I thought I was going just with the father-in-law, but no. Once I brought up all these cameos, Jess is in. So we'll be going, and Freya and Grandma will hopefully be going to see something they enjoy, which is probably that thing with the purple pencil. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, purple pencil.
Harold and the green crayon. I don't know, some color, and it's Harold, and it's all I got. I will not be partaking in that film. I will be, however, watching Deadpool. I hope, as long as it's still in theaters. Because, man, some of that stuff comes out quick now. I saw that Twisters was already on digital.
Yes.
I feel like it came out a day ago. It's been a month, a little over a month. Still haven't seen that, but at this point, I'll just wait. Tyler, so much stuff did happen this week, but the world of sports don't stop. So we got to talk about something that we've been talking about a lot. We've been talking about this for a while as I stall and say words so I can do this.
Hey, look at
Hey,
that. Look at that. Look at that banner.
wow. Prize Picks, Tyler. Are you ready to elevate your fantasy sports experience with Prize Picks? During the women's basketball season, you can win up to 100 times your money. Imagine turning a $10 entry into a whopping $1,000.
Wow.
I turned a $10 entry this weekend into a whopping nothing. You can do that too, but I'm going to keep trying because this is a lot of fun. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. You already know women's basketball is on fire with stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names alongside greats like Brianna Stewart and Asia Wilson. You could win up to 100 times your cash watching them ball out. I may have said this week, I'm going to buy a t-shirt or 9 from Angel Reese's collection. By the way, it's Reese's. It's not Reese's. Reese's. Thank you for coming here. Reese's Pieces. You break a cup and you're like, oh man, it shattered into a million pieces. What's wrong with you? Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. I can get a couple of shirts that way. Maybe. Not with shipping. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
All in. Brad, AEW, massive show. We spent so much of our Sunday watching wrestling.
Oh my gosh. It's a marathon.
Watching this show, thinking about it, discussing it, processing all that occurred
Pre-show,
in London.
media scrum, social media feeds.
There was a lot. There was a lot. So let's run down the card, and then I want to hear what has stuck with you, and I also want to recap what we've heard from our listeners. So the show opened with PAC, surprisingly, PAC and Blackpool Combat Club becoming the new trios champions. They
Big
won
surprise.
the 4-way London ladder match. I was shocked. They beat the Patriarchy, the Bang Bang Gang, and House of Black. Next up, Mariah May became, I should say, AEW Women's World Champion. She defeated the Timeless Toni Storm. Next, Hook defeated Chris Jericho, recapturing the FTW Championship. The Young Bucks defeated FTR and the Acclaimed. They are still the World Tag Team Champions. And the Casino Gauntlets. Oh my goodness. This is becoming AEW's signature match, and I love it. Surprisingly, Christian Cage defeated Kyle O'Reilly to win the gauntlet, thus ensuring that he can cash in an opportunity for the AEW World Championship at any time he would like. Next, Will Ospreay defeated MJF, reclaiming his international championship. Mercedes Moné defeated Britt Baker for the TBS championship. #and still. Finally, Jack Perry defeated Darby Allin in the coffin match. Darby's first loss in his signature match. He was 4-0 previously in coffin matches. Now he is 4-1 because the scapegoat left London victorious. And finally, Brad Winchester. Maybe we even start with this. Maybe we go out of order for our commentary. The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. I'm getting chills thinking about this. Beautiful, beautiful situation here. He defeated Swerve Strickland in a title versus career match. You heard it right. Bryan Danielson is the AEW World Champion. Brad, All in London 2. What say you?
Well, first of all, we got to shout out to the pre-show because Jamie Hayter is back, Tyler. It's my takeaway from the whole event, and it didn't happen on it. Like that's the one. I'm just so happy she's back. She looks great. She looks like she's in really good shape. I was worried that she would be injured and then not be able to train and have to like take forever to get back. The women's division just got so much better, and it was already really, really good to begin with. I'm just so excited to see her come back. It gives Saraya somebody to fight finally. And hopefully she sticks around. I like that Saraya's in the company. She adds an element to it of experience and expertise, and she's sort of this historical figure. I don't love what she's done since she's been in AEW necessarily, all of it, but I love her on the mic. She's a good talker, and she does really cool things and feuds. So I'm excited for them to do something coming up here now that Hayter's back and see where she goes, because the potential matches. since she's been gone. Oh man, I can't wait. A few things. I'm glad the 16-man tag happened on the pre-show. When Kip tweeted out that the last time he was on was like the collision before, or it was AEW All In or whatever it was, when he was last in a ring in London or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he retweeted the collision thing and said, well, it's still the last time since last year, LOL. It's like, man, this guy's over across the pond in his home country. Huge pop for him. Made me incredibly happy. Don't really care about what happened in the match, but it was a lot of fun to watch it go out, because there's a lot of cool people in there that were doing a lot of good stuff. For nothing else, the Satnam Singh Leo Rush spot was amazing.
RJ said he needs to see that match. And frankly, I believe I do too now.
Absolutely.
I'm intrigued.
And I want Leo going over.
Please, it would be nice for him to win a match.
Yes, Kip. I'm just so happy for Kip. Willow and Stat, all of it. That match was so much fun. It was only 8 minutes long, and it was an absolute blast. It was just so much fun to watch. Stokely getting a huge pop for pulling off a few moves for the
Stokely spine buster.
That got immediately no-sold. And then it was just like, oh God, Ishii's going to kill him.
Wrestling is the greatest. Willow and Chris, absolute superstars. Great feud. I'm so glad you and I spoke about this weeks ago, Brad. I'm so glad they're getting a proper one-on-one match at a pay-per-view. Really excited for All Out.
Yeah, totally agree. The Von Erich's coming in. Sorry, just thinking about Von Erich walking out with sandals. All of it was a lot of fun. The 4-way London ladder match was a blast, and it was kind of what I expected. It's what I hoped for. Nick Wayne single-handedly seemed to take out all of the House of Black through tables, and he looked great and kind of reminded people why they scooped him up at a young age. I believe that's what I said in a tweet, or a zeet, whatever we're calling those things. I thought that was fun. It was kind of shocking who won, but I guess whatever, because whatever.
Great reception for the bastard.
The trios titles have become increasingly confusing for me. Do I care about that more than I care about tag? When the tag's not really getting all that love, then it gets a whole bunch of love, but it doesn't feel the same. So it's all a little bit confusing right now for me. But as long as they keep putting tons of people in there, I believe Doc put this out there. Chris Mueller, shout out Chris, put out that I think it was like 72 or 76 different talent were in the ring tonight.
Wow. Sounds right.
That's great. So lots of messy stuff, but at least those people got to had those spots and get exposure and live their dreams. That's great.
Dante Martin getting a pin on 0 Hour.
Yes.
I'd love to see that.
Yes. Mariah May defeating Timeless Toni Storm. The Luther spot was great. I thought that was hilarious. I was not surprised by this. I figured that this was the way it was going to go, but you never know. It was like all of these matches sort of had an element of could go either way. They did a really good job building this. I think it's great. I can't wait to see what happens with Timeless Toni Storm from here, and what Mariah May's first feud's going to be. It's probably going to be Nyla. That's usually what happens. New champ, Nyla goes out and loses immediately. So that's probably the way that this is going to go. So Hook defeated Chris Jericho. Big Bill is over in London, Tyler. Dude is a London megastar. You should just retire and just take the flowers. I love this. We got a Taz mission. Not a full one, because Taz probably blow his back out doing that. But that was
Brian
amazing.
Keith. Yeah,
that was amazing. Well, poor Brian Keith in a multiple different ways, I guess, because I hate this for him. What he's doing there sucks. Like, this learning tree stuff sucks. Big Bill in there, that's fine. Like, he's just a big dude hossing people around. That's great. But like, Brian Keith went from the bounty hunter to the guy in jeans with the black vest.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what he's doing.
And I really thought either Joe was going to come back or maybe we'd see RVD. The fact that ostensibly this was a 3-on-1 match and Hook won. I'm glad Hook was victorious. Don't get it twisted, but
100%.
What does that mean for the learning tree now?
Yeah, they got beat by
Hook.
the smallest guys on the roster.
There was no Taz interfered, I guess you could say, quote unquote, at the end. But prior to that, it was just Hook dodging them and suplexing them. And I really believe, much like as you pointed out, the London audience, the UK audience, Big Bill is that guy. We've been knowing that.
Yes.
His potential is he can do everything. He can work, he can talk, he has the look. Let's get something for this guy, please.
I thought it was
time
with Ricky. I thought that was going to be the moment where he's going to be all right.
Listen, I thought Ricky was going to be on the show. We talked about it last week. I'm whispering like,
and then when I saw him say the popcorn at the 4D Twisters, and I was like, oh,
it's on streaming, Ricky. It's streaming now.
So sad,
and we want you back, Big Bill. I just love that he got his flowers. It was jarring to see such a huge babyface reaction for him. He's so good though. I hope the back half of this year can be a breakout for him. I don't know what's next for the learning tree, but something tells me they'll go the trios route. I think Big Bill is capable of more. And to your point, Brad, Brian Keith could also be doing something fun. Chris Jericho, he's still in a fascinating position of he was the MVP by far year one of AEW, getting them off the ground. But fast forward now, I just don't know what the proper position for him is on the card. It seems like we're always going to get a Jericho match on pay-per-view, but I think sooner than later, we're going to come to a point where that's not necessary anymore.
Yeah.
Is that disrespectful?
I don't know, because he's such a pillar for the company and his career is deserving of accolades and remembrance and all of that. And he recently did that interview where he basically said, I'm not done by a long shot. I'll know when I'm done. I'm still contributing at a high level. I still can move and I can do all that. Little peek behind the Casa Winchester curtain. I told Freya I was so pumped because she was like, why are you yelling? And it's because they played the flatlining heartbeat monitor sound for Hook's entrance. And I was like, this guy coming out right now, his dad used to come out to that entrance, and his dad is at ringside on the microphone talking about the match. And I just think it's so cool that he gets to do what his dad is. And he goes, yeah, she was watching it. It's like, who's that chubby guy in the ring? And she was talking about Chris Jericho, where
Freya Winchester
Jericho was like, on the thing talking about his abs and being in great shape. And the 7-year-old kid's like, look at that lardo up there. Yeah, just immediately.
He's like, a man of a certain age, Freya.
And I was like, okay, that's kind of what happens when you start getting older. Trust me, I take this shirt off here. It's gonna look not too dissimilar from one Chris Jericho here. And it bummed me out, but I was like, okay, he's older. But what's the benchmark and what are the standards? And when do you tell somebody to stop? Because if you're healthy enough to go, you're going to tell them to stop. And that's the thing. Cause like, think about where we were, and maybe they can do this, but I don't know, because of all the political stuff his wife is involved in and the stuff that he said, oh, I'm not political. And then retweet like QAnon stuff. Like that kind of stuff is going to hurt his credibility and his desire for people to see him, where other people have gone the Michael Jordan route and just gone, Republicans buy shoes too, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. And I think like that might hurt him more than anything else. And why there's like this vitriol that's out there is because he said stuff. People disagreed, and then it becomes a thing. And we talked about separating the art from the artist for a long time, but I'll tell you what, I can guess, but I have absolutely no idea what Jeff Jarrett thinks about politics.
Jeff Jarrett was over.
He is in the States too. Mm-hmm. They spent time making him this like mega over babyface, and all it
would have
took,
thought that's wild
in 2024, and all it took was going, I loved Owen Hart, to make him like, okay, now I got to root for this bad guy. Dude, when he teed off on Hangman Page with that guitar tonight, I was like, I feel like there's going to be a conversation backstage after that, because he hit him with his soul. It was just amazing. But it was like,
what a headline from 2024. Jeff Jarrett, one of the most popular men on the roster.
And he's still really good. Wow. He's not where he was. He doesn't move quite the same that he did, but like, it was 25 years ago when he was doing that.
And his in-ring style was never a high flyer or
no.
His style is one that complements where he's at.
Like a Mid-South wrestler. Like that's kind of what he is and always has been. And it's great. And he fits AEW perfectly because they're that throwback thing where he could definitely work in WWE, but like, it's just not, he doesn't have those burst moments that you would have there. Or in AEW, he's allowed to take the guitar out every once in a while and smash it over someone's head, where it's like, cool, you don't need to do a black arrow off the top rope out to the outside because that's not your skill set. But Jeff Jarrett doesn't, in his face, in his hair, he otherwise does not look like an older guy. And I think he and Jericho are the same age. Just Jericho seems to have a lot more miles on his body. And not to get all body shaming here, because I thought Jericho's, he does the lion salt and stuff and he can still pull it off. Even though Taz is like, oh, he landed low, he hit hook low in the match. It's like, yeah, it's because he couldn't quite get around. But
Taz covered up well for that.
Yeah, he did it great. They always do such a good job with that and say like, oh, it looks like they did a little fake out move there with Willow in that match. It's like, oh, a little shoulder fake in there. It was like, well, I think she turned around and saw Chris running at her already and was like, oh, I better react here.
Right. I remember that on the outside. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, you just got off the ground after getting nailed. Of course, you're going to have to take a sec to recover when there's a person that's like a hoss running full speed at you. I'm going to shut up now. We've talked enough about Chris Jericho and his match. Hook winning was great. I thought it was awesome. Also, yeah. The Elite retaining, I'm good with it. I thought the match was fun. Had a lot of cool spots in it. I have nothing to add. It was a good match.
Yeah, the tag team division is, to me, it's one of the storylines I'm focusing most on for the rest of the year in AEW. Is how do we? It's become a buzzword now, but restore that tag team division because the requisite talent is there, right? We saw GYV tonight.
Yes,
MXM Collection appears to be in the fold.
Yes,
they're great. Top Flight is still awesome. Private Party is always available now that they're healthy.
But to your
point,
the
talent is there. But how do we?
But think about what you just said. We just had a three-way dance between the current tag team champions and two former tag team champions.
Right, two of the three teams, the best in the world.
Yeah, and Private Party was doing the gauntlet.
Right.
And it's like, or the whatever it was, the ladder. I don't remember what the hell it was. They were there doing something, and it's like they opened the show, right? They were the first talent out.
Yeah,
and pre-show. They opened the pre-show, but they've never held the belts. How is that possible? It's kind of like Santana Ortiz. How did they not have it before they broke up? It's like one of the most egregious oversights. That was back though when AEW was like, we're going to put belts on people and just keep them there forever. People are going to earn that moment. And now it seems like every pay-per-view, we got a lot of belts changing hands where before it was like, we don't know if that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Save it for the pape. We have for a year. And now it's save it for the pape. There's one next month. By the way, it's $50. And it's like $400 a year trying to watch AEW pay-per-views where before it was like, all right, 200, I could do that.
We need to charge it to the 19 credit card. I don't know why we haven't done that yet, quite frankly.
Yeah, I know. They can afford a jet, but not the credit card payment.
The build to this match also left a lot to be desired, in my opinion. The Acclaimed leaning into being heels, but yet they're still over for a lot of audiences. FTR, Young Bucks, inarguably two of the greatest tag teams, not only current day, but ever.
The story was FTR and Acclaimed, but that was it. And then also the Young Bucks are who they were going to fight, but that was
you have good pieces, but this, if I were to rank which matches I was looking forward to the most and then which actually delivered for me, this one was the bottom third for both of my lists. And this is a company that prided itself on having the best tag team division in the world. So I don't think all hope is lost. You have talent. You can build storylines. I think the right team won, quite frankly. I'm happy with the Bucks retaining. The Elite are still in control, even though Tony Khan's there.
FTR are my guys.
And FTR are your guys. And you own Acclaimed merch, as do I. We love Anthony Bowens, his partner. Yeah. We'll talk another time.
His tag partner.
We got a famouser. At least we got a famouser during the match. Not all hope is lost.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And you know what? The match was fine. It wasn't like it was a bad match. It was fun.
No, it wasn't.
It was a lot of fun. I just wasn't that invested. And it was a storyline issue where it was like, well, there's nobody in there to root for. I don't know who to root for this.
Right.
I think that was it. It was like, well, I don't care if the Elite lose.
Right.
I really didn't want to see them lose, which is a sign that their bad guys aren't very bad. And when your bad guys are too fun, they're not really bad guys. FTR somewhere they're the baby faces in this, but the Acclaimed are gray area Jones. So you have like this. I love gray area teams, but a gray area team has to fight a gray area team. Gray area versus gray area is a fun dynamic. But if it's gray area versus bad guy, are they a baby face? It's hard to know who to root for. So I just felt like in this thing, I didn't know if I cared about who won, which is an indictment on the storytelling, not an indictment on the talent. Christian Cage won the Casino Gauntlet match. That's not the I was surprised. Tyler, I'm going to give you the floor. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Ricochet debuted. He's here. Out of this world. I have questions. The music, I'm hoping will grow on me.
It was drowned out by the crowd.
Yes, it was. I'm gonna wait. The outfit, not a huge change. It's kind of what we've seen before with Ricochet. So I'm gonna wait. I'm guardedly optimistic.
Kind of came out like a AJ Styles at the Rumble.
Yes, yeah, right. Yes, his sequence with Hangman though.
Yeah,
beautiful,
so good.
Vintage Ricochet. Him just leaning into, and I don't know where he's gonna take this. It's giving good guy. I'd be totally happy if he leans into being a bad guy, but it was lovely to see him embracing the audience reaction, him just doing moves and getting up and just basking in, oh yeah, I'm the only person that can do it this way. I want more of that.
Yeah, wait.
I was hopeful that he was going to win this match.
Yeah.
But successful debut. I can't wait to see what the path is for him to Chicago at All Out. I hope he'll have a marquee match. I don't know if we're quite ready for Ricochet versus Ospreay. I worry that might be rushing into it.
Man.
But at the same time, I would be very happy if we get that sooner than later.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. I loved it. I thought it was great. Kind of random. The Luchasaurus swerve was great, though.
Luchasaurus very over as well.
Yes. When that turn finally happens, which I think could be as soon as All Out, he's going to be this mega baby face. And I just hope he doesn't disappear a la Wardlow, who we haven't talked about in a hot minute.
Nigel McGuinness as well, by the way. Great reaction.
Oh my God, Nigel. Oh, that was so good.
The face-offs that Nigel
had in the match. Good. I was so happy for him.
Yeah,
that was
cool.
So good.
That was real cool.
Will Ospreay versus MJF was such a fun match, man. Obviously, it's not my favorite match of the night. We'll get to that. I'm sure we are aligned in that, but this was maybe not. Maybe your favorite match was probably not the Gauntlet, but your favorite moment was definitely in the Gauntlet. But the Will Ospreay MJF match was incredible. I thought that match was amazing. Great storytelling from beginning to end. Even with Daniel Garcia showing back up and taking the mask off. Oh, what a pop when he finally got it all the way up and people realized, oh, he's come back. So good. So good. I loved everything about the presentation, the Lex Luger trunks, the Apollo Creed top hat, the giant MJF flag, all of it was so good. And then Will Ospreay coming out to one of my favorite, if not my favorite video game franchises. Obviously it's his. The Aerial Assassin is because of Assassin's Creed. Might have pre-ordered Shadows because of that. It just lit the fire to go do it. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to commit to it. So I'll be ready to go in November if I'm not drowning in grad school. I love this. I thought it was great. Big moment for Will Ospreay. Thought it was awesome. Right guy won, and it was just a lot of fun.
Amen. He's a future All In main eventer. We can write that down.
100%.
Not even pencil it in. Write that in pen. That's going to happen. Perfect placement on the card, in my opinion. Big match. Two of the greatest at what they do in the entire sport. I'm not the guy who leans into the USA versus, name other region in the world, but I thought it worked really well. Yeah. I'm glad Will Ospreay went over, to your point, Brad, inserting Daniel Garcia. What I think was really effective about this show is that they set up a lot for All Out. Yep. Presumably we're getting Garcia versus MJF at All Out. Perfect. Glad Will Ospreay has the belt again. These two guys are amazing, and they have a lot of chemistry. This is a great match.
Yeah, I can't wait for that follow-up. That Will Ospreay and MJF do magical things in the ring. Like that, those two need to feud again in the future. I can't wait to see that happen. Get Will Ospreay, MJF, Ricochet, Swerve, get them all in a match together, do something, and it's going to be ridiculous.
They're so
It'll
good.
match of the century.
They're so good at their craft.
Man, God, if Kenny comes back,
oh yes,
my goodness,
please.
Our next match, Mercedes Moné with Camille, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD in her return match. Couple of spots in there that I loved. That Camille getting kicked out after getting the three amigos done to her. Britt Baker tosses the belt and then slams on the mat. Camille gets tossed. I thought that was amazing. I then was like, oh, this is great. I actually got up to go get a Coke out of the fridge. And by the time I got back, Britt was being pinned. I didn't even know what happened. It just seemed like it happened pretty quickly. I thought this match was fun. I thought it was, the beginning was a little rough, and then they really picked it up. They picked up on their chemistry, and like it was a tale of two halves, right? Like the first half was slow, and the second half really came together. They got the crowd back.
I'll say the crowd was struggling in the beginning. This was a tough position to put the ladies in following the aforementioned Ospreay victory. I think I
don't think I would have noticed any of those things had the crowd been more into it.
Right.
But they really came alive on that top rope counter by Britt. That the crowd was immediately back into it. And that match, I really liked this. I want to see them do this again. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think once Britt's back for a little while and gets back into the groove, I think they'll be able to run it back, and it'll be really, really, really good. Who knows what it means for Britt next, though, and I hope she doesn't get lost in the shuffle. But this was a ton of fun.
Yeah, and maybe we're not getting Baker and Hayter aligned again. I could be wrong. Who knows? But if you listen to this on Thursday and something happens on Dynamite where they're realigned, maybe that's the case. But I believe reports from Fightful were that maybe Britt and Jamie have moved on, don't necessarily want to revisit that. Who knows? But both women are talented enough, certainly, where they can completely have separate storylines and maybe pivot to a different direction. But I agree with you. Whatever is next for Britt Baker needs to be highlighted. And she could, in my mind, easily be a future contender for a championship later this year. But Mercedes winning, totally the right call. You and I have discussed this on air and off air. Too soon for her to lose her status as the face of TBS. This is great. This is great. And to me, Mercedes is really fitting into AEW now.
Yeah.
I think for a while, it was like, this isn't quite working. Let's see what happens. But now I feel like she's ingratiating herself much better on screen. And she's just reminding us that she's one of the greatest ever.
Yeah. Excited to see what's next, because I have no idea what they're going to do. Maybe some Rebecca lady shows up. Our next match was Jack Perry defeating Darby Allin in his own match, a coffin match, which did involve real glass, and Darby Allin gluing Gorilla Glue, according to Renee Paquette, Gorilla gluing thumbtacks to his face for this match. I don't know why somebody in the makeup department didn't say, yo, we got spirit gum back here, and we have spirit gum remover for when it's over instead of super glue. But what do I know? Darby, stop with the super glue. It'll rip your face off. So I thought this was fun. I'm glad it was only 10 minutes, because that's a violent match to go on for any longer than that. I think the right person won. Love Darby, but it gave us a Sting moment, and it was fun. It was just really fun. They threw back to the gasoline from was it Blood and Guts, and I thought it was great. I thought that was a lot of fun. I really liked this match. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's cool to see Jack Perry doing the hardcore thing and getting a big win in a big spot as champ against Darby Allin, who has been champ multiple times in his own gimmick match. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Perry needed a big win. It's always great to see Sting, and Darby. Darby remains a madman. I hope he's okay following this match. It seemed pretty tame given what we've seen of Darby in other matches this year, relatively speaking.
It's an amazing comment.
Gorilla Glue aside, right? It's kind of wild for me to say that after the
gluing tacks to his face and getting thrown into glass and all this stuff. Yeah.
It was an easy day at the office. Yeah, I agree with you. Perry needed to win this, and let us not forget, Darby has a guaranteed title shot. I
Yeah.
believe at Grand Slam, he won that battle royal a few weeks ago.
Mm.
So, and then there are also reports that he may be in line for a title run, a world title run at some point. So maybe I believe possibly Merge, and we'll get to Merge and George shortly. I think Merge even fantasy booked Darby versus Danielson in Washington at Wrestle Dream later
It'll
this
be
year.
great. It'll be great.
That would be great. Maybe Darby gets coronated there, so he can afford a loss. It was great to see Sting beat up the Young Bucks, and this made a lot of sense to be the match before the match.
Yeah. Yeah. And the match delivered. Oof, did it deliver? The entrances were incredible. The build for this was incredible. They did such a good job. Swerve deserves all the flowers in the world. I saw a lot of people on the timeline really upset that Swerve lost. I get it. I get it. I guarantee he was fine with it. He got to wrestle Bryan Danielson in the main event of Wembley in what is certainly going to be Bryan Danielson's last world championship. It's his last run. Swerve's got years ahead of him, and he just signed a new contract with AEW. He'll be champ again. And he knows, like, he's got Ricochet. He's still got Ospreay again. He's still got all these people he can face. I don't know that has Swerve ever wrestled Kenny. Like, there's so many possibilities here where he can go out and have incredible matches with these people. And MJF Swerve feud would be great with babyface Swerve and heel MJF. There's so many things that are left on the table for Swerve, and I think it should be noted that he's the first Black main eventer at Wembley ever in wrestling, in any wrestling promotion, as far as I understand it. So, again, yeah, he lost. I don't think he cares tonight. Like, I think tonight he's going, holy crap, look at how awesome that is with Bryan Danielson and his kid.
He made history, and he's paid.
Yes. And he built that moment that Danielson just had, with his kids, with all of that, with us caring about this match. Swerve made that happen. He carried that story, because Danielson, for the most part, was just sort of gone a lot, getting hurt, and
Danielson said as much in the press conference following the show.
Exactly. And we know Swerve is going to be back. We know that Swerve is just a mega star. And I still can't believe how badly WWE fumbled that. I get why they released an entire group at the same time, but how do you let Swerve go? That's crazy.
Yeah,
so
he is. And Brad, you're a high school teacher, so you this is not the first time you've heard this word. Swerve has aura.
yeah.
During the introductions before the match, and
the gear of all the people he's defeated.
Exactly. Physically, how he's transformed. Of course, Nana adds a lot to this and really helps Swerve up his game, months, a year ago even. So he's played a pivotal role and was really fun in this match. But Swerve just has aura, bro. He's that guy.
Yeah, I mean,
As is Bryan Danielson. Danielson has aura too, our new world champ.
And I think what was so cool about this was, it's title versus career. And we know that Danielson isn't done wrestling. His full-time career is coming to an end. So, like, it kind of felt like they were leading us into it, going like, yeah, he's going to win. But there was always that element of maybe not. Maybe they got something else planned.
And we know his personality. Reportedly, he never wanted to hold gold. Danielson, that is.
No, and he said at the thing, like, Tony had to fight him on it and drag him to that conclusion where he was like, hell yeah. It'll be so cool for your kids to see you become a champion. And they were there to have that be the first. I don't know if this crossed your mind at all, but that was his first live wrestling match with the kids in attendance. The kids have never seen him wrestle live with ketchup on his head. All I could think of while that was happening was Mick Foley and his kids see him basically die in the ring. When The Rock in the I Quit match, like, bludgeoned him in the head with the chair and it busted him open and stuff. Him having regrets about that. It's all I could think about in that whole time. I was like, man, his kids are watching. I wonder if he's going to have regrets about this. But then it ended very differently than that match. It didn't end with him losing and walking away with a major concussion and multiple stitches on his forehead. He left with a Band-Aid and a championship belt. So it's pretty great. I just thought all of that was really cool. The entrance, the ring gear, Swerve getting live performance entrance stuff is always great. Man, it's just AEW really stepped up their production and made it feel much more big time. I wish they paced it out a little better. WWE does this better by having like longer breaks between matches, but WWE also doesn't have that many matches on the card. So at some point they're going to have to find that balance between having breaks and having 8-hour pay-per-views, because that's what they'd have to do to give us enough breathing room. So I don't know. I thought the main event ruled. Overall, I loved this show, man. Like, this is my favorite show of the year, I think, so far. Yeah, I got nothing between the debuts and the outcomes. This is probably my favorite one.
High praise, even above Revolution. Sting's Goodbye.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sting's Goodbye ruled, but after that, it's I couldn't tell you what else is on there without you reminding me.
Yeah, I would have to look it up too. That seems like it was so long ago, even though it was
that's
March. So much has happened.
Is that when Swerve won?
No, that was Dynasty. That was the next month. Okay, so
yeah.
also that was the triple threat on that card.
That's
Hangman
right.
v Swerve v Joe. Strong card.
It was a strong card. It was a great pay-per-view. It
was
Ricochet.
Yeah, this was this was a spectacle.
Zack Sabre Jr., who I thought was signed with ROH.
Yeah. I mean, everything you said. I'll just add, I love shows where the main event ends up being the best match on the card. When you go home and there's just, and there's room for nuance, and obviously wrestling is very subjective, but based on our, I guess, informal poll, seems like folks left this show thinking that was the best match. The main event delivered. That's what we're talking about leaving the show. Everything else, by and large, was okay to very strong. But when the main event hits like it did for Swerve versus Danielson, great moment. This just made so much sense. What should the main event of All In 2 be? What are you going to end the night on? Last year, MJF versus Adam Cole and their friendship / rivalry. This year, it's going to be a layup if it's Bryan Danielson's first championship victory in AEW. This was well done. Two great performers. Swerve at the peak of his powers. Danielson, Final Countdown City. This is great. And it really touched me. The press conference, I was thinking about you and how it hit you, being your relationship with Freya and Daniel's relationship with Birdie and his son. And then, Brie Garcia, Brie Bella popping up. This was fantastic. Well-worked match. Great drama. This delivered. Great show.
Yeah, absolutely. For the sake of time, no transition Jones. I got a someday when you have kids. Speaking of, so let's roll into it. Play the music.
And now it's time for
I'm crazy.
Someday when you have kids.
You're crazy.
Okay, Tyler, I was debating how I wanted to talk about this, so I'll save the curriculum night talk for another time. Maybe next week, Teaser City. It's got to be about watching things. Someday when you have kids, you'll understand how differently things hit you because you see it from the eyes of a parent. And watching Bryan Danielson in the middle of the match, at the beginning of the match, shouting out how much he loves his kids and his wife, and then having Swerve. I saw somebody tweet out that his kids are going to end up racist because of this match, because of the way Swerve went up to him and said, I'm gonna beat your daddy and all this stuff. I was like,
he didn't mince words.
Gotta stop. But watching, I think both kids at one point, but watching Birdie cry into her hat because Swerve was meaning what he said, because they're all like method actor in character crazies, went up to this kid and was like, I'm gonna beat your daddy and I'm gonna make him hurt and like I'm gonna end his career and like I'm gonna send him home to you. And then she's just bawling into her hat. It's like great for TV. I don't know if it's good for long-term childcare. So I'm hoping Swerve was waiting backstage when they all got back there and was like, hey, I love your dad and we're good. And yeah, it's just some catch up. Don't worry about it. Nana's going to dance for you real quick. And he brought some of his coffee. I hope that, man, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, because there's so many things in my life now that I look at differently because I'm a father. Like I think I told you a long time ago, kids were telling me, you got to watch It, the new version of It, the movies, the very first one, not the second one. And I was like, okay, you got it. I'll try it. I'll have to watch it on my own because Jess hates scary movies. I'll turn it on. First 10 minutes, like a 6-year-old gets his arm ripped off before being killed. And I was like, I'm out. We're done. I'm done here. I'm not going to be watching this film any more than I already have. The first 5-6 minutes.
I
were
remember
enough.
that. Did he put his hand in the sewer?
Yeah, to reach
Right?
down
And he
for
was,
the little boat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
of course.
before getting dragged down to his death. And I was like, good. This so this evil clown monster from the cosmos, a cosmic monster from space and time, ripped a little boy's arm off before eating him and then turning him into a balloon ghost. Like all of these things.
You'll flow too.
Yeah, and I just saw it and I was like, oh, nope. Because all I could think about after that is like, oh, my kid dying. It's all I could think about is how would I react if I were a parent? All of those things enter my mind. So like when I see him saying, I'm sorry, because he feels like he's letting down his kid, or if you interpret it the other way, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be home just yet. Maybe he was apologizing to them knowing that he's about to win this match. Either way, it's just like, it just hit me going like, oh, I'm at work a lot. I miss my kid. Jess and Frey are out shopping or doing something without me right now, having bonding time and those experiences. So thinking about that, doing this, and just, watching that as a father, you're really thinking about the kids. Indescribable feeling. And I hope you get that someday when you have kids.
No Transition Jones. We're going to continue that, Brad. You got me thinking about It now. I think I saw that in theaters, actually. That was very, very gruesome. All that being said, sticking with wrestling. Oh, and by the way, speaking of All In, I told myself I wasn't going to forget this, Brad. Shout out to 2 of our listeners.
Oh, right.
First, the great George Romero. His interpretation, we put out a poll or a question online asking for takeaways from All In. George says he loved the wrestling overall. A lot of stories were told in the ring. He likes the coronation of Bryan Danielson. Check out George. He's at Niners with a Z, 94. And Merge, the aforementioned Merge, shout out to him, great supporter. He said match of the year candidate with Swerve versus Danielson, Mariah and Ospreay winning in awesome matches. The Casino Gauntlet was awesome. He said outside of the finish. He also popped huge for Nigel and Ricochet, as did we. Overall, Merge says it was a great show, probably second behind Revolution for AEW Show of the Year. You can follow Merge at Merge1998. Thank you guys. Thank you all for continuing to support us. With that in mind, Brad, big wrestling weekend ahead. WWE Bash in Berlin is this Saturday, followed by NXT No Mercy on Sunday. Quickly, the cards for both shows. In Berlin, we have the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, defending their WWE Women's Tag Team Championship against the super duo of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Strap match, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. We also have the Terror Twins, that being Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, taking on the Judgment Day's Dirty Dominik Mysterio and Liv Morgan, the couple of 2024 in a mixed tag match, of course. And then finally, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Championship. And what I would assume to be the main event, Gunther defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Randy Orton. What are your thoughts, feelings, predictions ahead of Saturday's big show?
Bianca and Jade take the belts back.
I like it.
CM Punk, Drew McIntyre will be probably the match of the night. Only because it's those two and the story's been so good. The Terror Twins, also a great story. I'm sure Dirty Dom and Liv Morgan are going to win when there's tomfoolery with the rest of the Judgment Day. Cody Rhodes is going to retain against KO, but that match should be a ton of fun. That match might end up stealing the show, but I still think my favorite match is going to end up being CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. Although I do struggle a little bit in those. A strap match with those two when they're not even close to the same size makes me question it a little bit. It'd be different if CM Punk were fighting Damian Priest. I mean, not Damian Priest, Finn Balor, other Judgment Day member, or somebody about his size, where it's Drew. Grab the strap and pull. You're going to yeet him into space. And CM Punk's not a small guy. Like in real life, he's not a small guy. He's a big dude. But Drew McIntyre is a walking truck.
Speaking of Adonises.
My God.
We're getting back to the beginning of the episode. Drew McIntyre probably lifts couches with one arm and
yes,
barely breaks a sweat.
Yeah, 100%. He's carrying the box up the stairs with the stairs in his other arm.
Like in Arizona 100%. Heat.
Yes, in Arizona Heat. Like the sun goes around the earth to hide when he walks down, just to protect him because he's scared.
That's true.
Gunther and Randy Orton. Gunther's probably retaining here. I don't think there's any chance that Randy wins right away. Right after Gunther won. I don't know. And it's a good way to establish Gunther as a dominant champion again, because he beat all those IC title people, but it wasn't Randy Orton. So I think having the top guys face Gunther is really going to help establish him as this monster. We already know it. We've seen his work. He's beaten former champions over and over and over again. But I think there's just that air of this is a world champion, not the Intercontinental Championship, that will really elevate it. And honestly, I think Gunther might help that belt out a little bit and bring it back to like what he did with the Intercontinental Championship. It needs that.
I was going to say we don't have to look too far in the past to see what he can do when given the ball, when given the opportunity. Yeah, I'm aligned with you, Brad. And that leads us, I really like this. Look at us with our predictions. That leads into our quick preview of NXT No Mercy. 6 matches currently announced for that show. Wesley versus Zachary Wentz in a grudge match. Chase University defending their NXT Tag Team Championship against the former champs, Nathan Frazer and Axiom. Obafemi versus Tony D'Angelo for the North American title. Kehlani Jordan versus Wendy Chu for the women's North American title. Roxanne Perez versus Jada Parker for the NXT Women's Championship. And finally, Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry for the NXT Championship. Trick Williams will serve as the special guest referee. What say you, Brad?
I say I'm going to pass it to you, friend. I'm really excited for the Ethan Page Joe Hendry match, and
that should be good.
And that's it.
Wow, interesting.
I'm really like, I'm sure it's going to be great. The wrestling's going to be great. I'm not all that invested in any of these storylines because it's like, all right, well, the Omafemi stuff is going to like it's going to be fun. I'm sure. Is anybody doubting the outcome? So it's just, you can't build this monster and then be like, hey, I'm going to take your belt. Like, it's just not going to, like, no effing away.
We got
like,
Brad's Tony D'Angelo on this episode. That might be a first.
It's more of my Tony Soprano.
Yeah, that was given.
Hey, it's the Jets coach. Go say hi.
Like, Wesley, I'll give you quick predictions. Wesley beat Zachary Wentz. Chase University retains their championship. I agree with you. Obafemi also retains. Kehlani Jordan better retain. Her title reign just started.
Yeah.
High ceiling for her. Similarly, Brad, Roxanne Perez is not losing to Jada Parker, although I'm sure that match will be a blast.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to make it, what is it? Maybe 5 for 5 here. I don't see Ethan Page dropping to Joe Hendry whatsoever. Ego's reign just started. He's carrying that belt well. Heel champ at the top of the card. Joe Hendry's awesome. He's still over. He's still riding a great wave in 2024. I know Trick Willie being the ref adds maybe some extra suspense here. To me, though, Ego retains. I think all champions are going to walk in to No Mercy as champs and leave with their gold.
I agree with you. I think if anybody's in danger there, the most danger would be Ethan Page, and I just don't see it.
No, I don't think so either. Well, speaking of being in danger, The Bachelorette. We have 2 episodes of The Bachelorette this week.
I was like, she's in danger?
No. Well,
Miss Tran.
Jenn is in a very precarious position, and I'm going to tell you why. It's time for a rose from me.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
All right, I have so much to fill you in on, Brad. I called it Jeremy, the 29-year-old real estate investor from New York, got bounced. part of his hometown date with Jenn included a supermarket visit. Maybe it's an East Coast thing, man. To me, it was a warning sign that he wasn't going to survive the episode. There are 3 men left heading into fantasy suites this week. There's Jonathan, Marcus, and somehow that scoundrel Devin. Jonathan is still giving friend vibes, in my opinion, and Marcus is now outwardly expressing his insecurities around this process being too fast. He's not ready for an engagement. Here we go. Every year there's always a contestant who gets cold feet. So, Brad, we have 2 episodes this week, as I mentioned, Monday and Tuesday, including the Men Tell All. I don't think this is going to end well for Jenn. I predict that she's leaving without any of these guys.
Wow.
However, you are in a great state of mind this school year. I believe you're heading into week 4 already. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Jeez, time is moving. I love your sense of optimism, and we need more of it. Clearly, I need more of it heading into the Bachelorette this week. I want you to quickly update us on how your shift to being more positive is going. You had a very memorable gratitude segment last week. We know how teaching goes. Like a lot of jobs, you can be on a high, and then you run into a rough day or a rough week, and it kind of knocks you back.
Yeah.
Have you had any tough days already this school year?
Yeah, definitely challenging days. I've talked to you off air about them. Usually I try to keep it off air for a variety of reasons.
How are you maintaining the optimism? I need more of it this week.
It's tough. It's really tough because it's, you got to find it in small places. I still feel like I'm doing a pretty good job with it. I reflect with my kids and go like, well, how can I do this? I think the big thing is, I'll say it like this. I don't want to, I feel like I'm airing dirty laundry if I say anything here, but it's, you and I have talked very recently about this. I think sometimes you got to have other people be held accountable, and I think it's okay to put stuff on them and go, no, you can do it. And I'm not saying pass responsibilities, but I'm saying like give people opportunities to thrive. And this past week, I told you what I was doing in my technical theater class. Instead of me like bending over backwards to find solutions to these problems, I was like, no, you do it. You figure it out and give it to them because I know they can. So by giving them the opportunity to just figure it out, I think what I'm doing in the long run is really helping them out be successful. And that has made it easier for me to look at everything that I'm not able to accomplish right now a little bit easier because they're accomplishing things. So sometimes you got to look without to feel good within. And I saw my students doing really cool things. So it doesn't matter what's happening in my life. I can go, no, we're doing good work here. It's not always about me. It can be about other people, and that other people doing something can also be a net positive for me and helps me keep it in perspective. I think that's how I'm choosing to look at it this week.
I love that. I've heard that phrase, do something now, from 2 people who I greatly admire and look to as North Stars. This is beautiful. I'm cured. I feel great. Maybe Jen's going to end up happy and find someone. Probably not. I think these guys are duds, but we shall see. With all that in mind, what did we popped you perfect at an hour and some change? Excellent. What, if anything, did we possibly miss this week?
I have no idea. Look at my face.
Your face is facing.
I mean, it's like I got like the neck beard going. Like this is a little bit too short, but it looks like I just got out of hold on. It's slightly better. If I put the other one back up there, it looks like I got out of like a 3-day bender somewhere in like East Boston. Just staggered out of a rusty door.
East Boston.
Bumping into somebody in a trench coat who looks confused and wants to sell me a watch. I just look terrible, like a wet fish. So I'm just, all fish are wet. I don't know what I'm talking about. I can't even say words right now and make good analogies. I look dreadful. What we missed is the delightful, delicious taste of Big Sexies. I looked for Kevin Nash when I saw the food truck. Wangs and Thangs. That was a food truck. and of course there were jokes. I was with Cameron Dozier, friend of the show, I guess. That Jess was ordering some wangs, and I kept asking her, how many wangs do you think you can fit in your mouth at once? And does it matter how big the wangs are? Will you enjoy them? Do you like a meaty wang or a little bonier wang? It's up. I couldn't help myself. But when I saw Big Sexies, I thought, wow, this is perfect for a place called Gimmick Infringement, which I feel like this guy may owe Kevin Nash some money.
I think so. It is in the title. I have just won the other, I guess you could say the other Kehlani in my life. We mentioned Kehlani Jordan, but Kehlani, the singer who I am seeing in October. Very excited. Not sure if I shared that on the show. You knew about that. I sent you the screenshot. Kehlani tickets and SmackDown ticket or Raw tickets released same time, same day. One of the most stressful moments of my summer. Just trying to navigate Ticketmaster, and it was a whole thing, but we made it through. Anyway, Kehlani is dropping their highly anticipated While We Wait 2 mixtape this Wednesday. Lots of anticipation, lots of expectations. I think it's going to be amazing, and I am very, very excited. Brad, this was a great episode. You're heading into week 4. I'm sure our listeners have important personal and professional matters coming up this week. I'm wishing you well. I'm wishing them well. Thank you for being you, man. I'm grateful for you.
Appreciate you.
And we appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Monday. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.